Hey everyone, we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. We'll give it another half a minute for people to jump on. Let us know where you're tuning in from and smash the like, share the video with anybody that can join us last minute. We'll get started here very shortly. I see we have a ton of people rolling in, lots of people eager to talk about the news today, and we're going to jump right into it here in about 15 seconds. All right, let's get on with it. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth Connoisseurs. It's Rod with Pow Group. Today is Monday. It's August 26th. Hope you had a great weekend. I actually went to the Metallica concert yesterday. Saw Five Finger Death Punch as well. Ice Nine Kills. It was an absolute amazing concert. But we had some not so awesome news that came out after hours today. I think this blindsided a lot of people, myself included, although I don't think all hope is lost. And actually, the charts are still looking pretty bullish. I mentioned that they were a little bear short term here over the next month or so, but into the fall, it's looking like fireworks. And I got a lot of hate for saying that we could potentially see one more leg down in MJ. Everybody thought I was out to lunch. And here we are. Show me the chart, I'll tell you the news, essentially, right? That old adage goes. But the news out today was the DEA schedules the MJ hearing for after the elections, delaying reform. So we're going to discuss all of this. We'll go over the news, the article that broke, and then we'll go over my thoughts and opinions on this, and we'll get everybody else's thoughts and opinions as well in the comment section if you want to drop your comment there, your opinion, what you think of this news. And we'll get to that at the end. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. All that mumbo jumbo. Also, shout out to our new channel members, getting a ton of members on the channel. If you haven't already checked that out, you can join. All the details are there. You just click on join, and I've got member-only videos and a ton of other perks as well. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So this is the article that broke. There was a communication that was sent directly from the DEA. So if you're on their email list as well, you probably already saw it. But this came from the MJ moment. So DEA schedules hearing on MJ, rescheduling, delaying reform until after the election. So the DEA has scheduled a hearing to consider differing expert opinions on the Justice Department's proposal to federally reschedule MJ, an extra procedural step that will take place after the November election. After moving to reclassify MJ as a Schedule III drug under the Controlled Substances Act, CSA, back in March, DOJ opened a 60-day public comment period that saw over 40,000 submissions. It was actually over 43,000, the most in history. Now that the DEA has reviewed the comments, it has agreed to an administrative hearing as requested by several supporters and opponents of the reform. The hearing will be held on December 2nd, according to a notice set to be published in the Federal Register, on Thursday. So I did mention this in my previous interview as well with Anthony Martinelli. He's the founder of the MJ Herald. And we mentioned in this, I said, what's the potential next step? Do you think we'll see a hearing? And he didn't believe that we would. He said, there was a slight chance. I kind of agreed with him. I didn't think we would either because it doesn't leave us much time before the elections. And here we are. It just came out right after, not too long after that interview. When did I post that video? That was 4 days ago. So it looks like we were wrong. But, at the end of the day, he did, I think it was Anthony that mentioned it. I think he said in the video that if they don't do a hearing, it could come back to bite them in the you know what, because if they didn't hold a hearing, there might be some sort of like litigation or lawsuits that would come as a result of that, and it might come back to bite us in the behind, right? So if that's the case, we have to, again, not all hope is lost. I don't think that MJ stocks are going to just slow bleed and go to all-time lows into the end of the year. The stock market's looking super bullish. We've got Florida on the ballot as well in November, so I think that's going to be a major catalyst. I think that's going to pass. I still think rescheduling is going to happen, but now we have to think of the fact that, just think about it. It's a political liability. I've been saying it's a political death sentence if they don't get some sort of reform done at the very least, bare minimum, rescheduling. So what does this mean? What could they be planning, right? Are they just going to hand the election over to the other folks on the other side of the aisle, or do they have something else brewing? Are they going to do a complete 180 turn on crypto? And if they don't, I think they're completely finished. There's 0% chance of winning, in my opinion. And if they don't really start to, kind of pump MJ, like I think this might even entice them to pump MJ in the end of their campaign, like a month or so before the elections, even more so. Because if the administrative hearing has been delayed, well, they might, and then this might encourage them to get banking done in a lame duck session. This might encourage them to try to kind of talk about banking a lot more, and then uplisting safe harbor to the NYSE and the NASDAQ could come as well around the same time. But one thing I think that they might start to pump is full-blown descheduling, because as we know, I posted a video on it, Tim Walz and Harris are the first pro-MJ Democratic ticket in history. So first VP and president, right? So this is, in my opinion, paving the way for them to really start to pump the whole descheduling or full-blown legalization of MJ, because what else is there to do, right? They can't, unless there's some way for them to avoid doing this hearing. I can't see that being the case. And like we talked about in this interview, it might come back to bite us in the rear if we don't have that hearing, because that could open up a whole other can of worms, etc. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I just want to remind everybody as well that, while it seems like we're moving at, turtle speed, you have to remember there was an article here from the Green Market Report, long road ahead for U.S. MJ rescheduling. And it said it could take up to 7 years. And they removed that from the article. But if you look at the process roadmap, it said OMB review up to 90 days. We're still well ahead of schedule here. Like when I interviewed political director Morgan Fox at Normal, he said, this could be a multi-year thing, right? Like 3-4 years plus. And then these folks said it could take about 7 years. So let's just go through the timeline, right? OMB review up to 90 days. Public comment period 30 to 90 days. It only took 60. Administrative hearing a few months to over a year if granted. So that's way under that timeline, right? DEA review for a few months to over a year. Final rule effective 30 days after publication, and judicial review up to 3 years if challenged. So that's about 7 years. So if we just take a look at where we're at here, so if we add up what potentially could have happened, 90 days for the OMB, 90 days for the public comment period, and a few months to over a year if granted administrative hearing. So that's 90 days plus 90 days plus, I just used 365, but he even said over a year. So we'll just be, conservative and modest, and we'll say 365. So 365 plus 90, that's a year and a half. And they came out with the news. They broke the news at the end of April. So end of May, June. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically, because it would have been the end of December. So about 7-8 months. And it's saying, based on this timeline here in this roadmap, at this stage of the roadmap, like at step 3, we could be at a year and a half. So just remind yourselves that, April, May, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, December hearing, right? December 2nd. That's only about 8 months, right? So we're doing not too bad, right? This is saying about 18 months is where we could be at, maybe longer, right? Said a few months to over a year if granted. So, we're looking at about 8 months versus, 18 months plus, right? So it's actually not that bad. Like we're doing pretty good here in the whole roadmap and in terms of the timeline, right? We're actually chugging along quite well, which is very different for government agencies and the government in general, because as we know, they move very, very slowly. So like I said, it's not the end of the world. You would think it's probably the end of the world when you look at the stock charts at the moment. MSOX was down, I think close to 30% at one point, maybe even 35%. I can just bring up, let's just bring up Mumu here actually. We'll take a look at some of the bloodbath that's going on at the moment. MSOS was down almost 20%. So we'll just go bring up, MSOS here. After hours, it hit a low of 594. So I said, we could potentially see one more leg down, and I got so much hate for it. Everybody thought I was an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Like, how could we be ahead of rescheduling? You keep saying that rescheduling is going to happen before the elections, and why are you so bearish then in the short term? And it's because the charts were saying, there was death crosses across a ton of names. There were still names that were seeing monthly consolidation and weakness, bear flags across the sector. So, again, at the end of the day, I want MJ to go up, but I'm not here to, to convey what I want to happen. I'm looking at the charts and I'm saying what the most likely scenario is, and don't hate the messenger. I'm just relaying what I see in the charts, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, right? I still think that leading into the fall, we're going to see massive eruption, right? We had rate cuts. Potentially, we're going to have the first rate cut potentially in September. We have, historically, October is a great month for the stock market. Q4 is a great time for the stock market and it's election year. So we're going to see risk on, in my opinion, into the end of the year. And just keep in mind that the fact that this is getting potentially delayed, right, and the hearing is scheduled until after the elections, this just means that they might have to pump MJ even more during their election campaign, during the last month or so of their election campaign, right? So this might even be better for us, to be honest. So just thinking out loud, but let me know in the comment section below if you agree with me, disagree with me. But yeah, we did hit 594. I did say on multiple videos that I did not think that we're going to go back below $5 on MSOS. If we do, it'll be a screaming buy. Obviously not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's for entertainment purposes only, but I'll definitely be buying. It looks like I'm going to be nibbling on some MJ tomorrow. I've been holding off because, like I said, I've been expecting a little bit more sideways chop action and even more potential for one more leg down. And I've also been buying a lot more crypto. As I said multiple times, I own more crypto dollar-wise than I do MJ currently because MJ has been in a 4-year bear market and crypto's been in a 4-year bull market, and it's very close to the end of its bull market. So I'm riding that last crypto wave here into the end of the year. I think we're going to see alt season, and I've been holding off. I've been buying a lot more crypto over the last few days. And like I said, I've been nibbling here and there at MJ, just waiting for dips. And it looks like tomorrow's going to be a nibbling day. So I'll be adding. I'm not going to be loading the boat or anything like that. We still got time. So once I start to rotate some of those profits from my MJ gains here into the end of the year, I'm going to be rotating those into more beaten down MJ. So we'll take a look at MSOX. So MSOX, yeah, was down 26% at the moment after hours. MSOS down over 12%. This is why it's nice to play after hours as well, because you can buy, while there's this bloodbath happening. You can buy when there's blood in the streets, and leading into tomorrow, who knows, maybe we're back up around 650 or 660s on MSOS, right? So you can't take advantage of those dips after hours. And a lot of these news catalysts and pieces get timed like that for a reason, right? But yeah, MSOX was down over 25%. Yeah, not looking too hot here. We'll take a look quickly at Canadian MJ. So some of the big names we'll look at: CGC down 6% after hours. Tilray only down 2.69% after hours. So sitting at 181, holding up a lot better. Actually, Tilray's looking pretty good. They're going to be launching their hemp drinks in the U.S. soon. So we should see their Delta 9 hemp formulation drinks starting in Texas and New Jersey. They said that they're ready to go. So we should see really any news about that anytime with an imminent launch. Also, Canopy had some news about Wana today. Going to be launching a marketplace for hemp as well. So it looks like everybody's in hemp, full force in hemp. And this is great to get them by, and for these LPs to get them by as well until rescheduling happens and more meaningful reform in the U.S. will be able to sell hemp and Delta 9. And also, Tilray being diversified into the beverage business as well, and alcohol, etc. But yeah, let's take a look at some of our other names. SNDL down 2.88%. OGI down 3.52%. So not too bad. Definitely the U.S. names getting hit a lot harder. And that makes sense, right? Because what did I say on a lot of these names? I said, watch out for potential death crosses to be forming. And Cureleaf was another example of what to expect. Like we just had a death cross, right? And this is, some of the lowest prices that Cureleaf's ever been at. So definitely a bit of a red flag there. But yeah, I was looking at some other names in the space like AYR. Yeah, we just had a death cross there as well. MSOX. Death cross, MSOS, death cross, and now we're seeing the 100 and the 200 day moving average cross as well. So the shorter term above the longer term, that's not good. So yeah, not good at all, unfortunately. And then there were some other names in the space like OGI had a death cross that occurred. SNDL hasn't seen its death cross yet, but it very well could into tomorrow and over the next few days. Like I said, I was expecting chop and sideways action, if not one more potential leg down. High Tide, just, yeah, very close to seeing its death cross. So, again, the whole sector was bearish. Really, from a technical perspective, HMMJ could see a death cross as well. MJ ETF, very close to seeing a death cross. So, again, while I want to see MJ stocks go up, right, I'm not here just to fill everybody full of fear and try to pump my own bags and bring this down just so that I can load up, right? I'm just being honest. I'm trying to be as honest as possible and unbiased as possible looking at these charts. And yeah, we had some major red flags. We'll just bring up the MSOS chart here real quickly as well. On the weekly time frame, yeah, it was a weekly bear flag actually, wasn't it? We were looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders, but we can rule that out now. So if we take our measured move here from the high to the low, yeah, it was a perfect bear flag. Check that out. So again, like all these bear flags across the sector we're saying more downside. So let's just see where we were targeting here on this bear flag on the weekly time frame. So we go here, and then you draw your horizontal line to give us the target. So you just take your swing, your high to the low there, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and it said we were targeting 537, right? And just to, back on August 5th, we hit a low of 620. So from there, it was saying we could see another 13% of downside. So that's why I was bearish, right? So if we had a target of 537 and we bring up MSOS here after hours, still on USMJ, perfect. So I gotta sort this by the name. Why isn't it sorting? There we go. Oh, I think I sorted in reverse order. There we go. MSOS. So yeah, we hit 594 was the low. So 594, and the weekly bear flag was saying 537. So yeah, we're now down about 3%. So yeah, we can still see another 10% of downside, right? So don't be surprised if we do go down to 550, 530s. I don't think we're gonna get below $5, to be honest. Like, we're not set up well though. If we woke up tomorrow and the S&P 500 saw any kind of meaningful pullback, like if we saw a daily consolidation into tomorrow, which very well could happen, and then we come down and we lose 554, we have basically no support all the way down to 510. So this could get really bad. But in my opinion, it'll be short-lived. It'll be a dip for buying. That's what I'll be doing. And like I said, Florida on the ballot. We have excise taxes in Canada could be improved soon. So many catalysts. Germany looking to fast track Pillar 2. Banking could happen in a lame duck session. Uplisting and safe harbor to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And Florida on the ballot, I think that's going to pass. But either way, rescheduling still chugging along. And as I said, we're still way ahead of this timeline. So, don't beat yourself up too much. We can't get everything right. Like, I still think rescheduling is going to happen. But in my opinion, again, like we mentioned in this video as well, this might be a good thing that they have the hearing, because if they don't, it can open up more problems later on in litigation and lawsuits that might actually end up undoing it, right? Because if they don't say they had a hearing, then they could potentially use that against these agencies or these scheduling reviews. So I think it's probably a good thing that we're having the hearing. It's probably not a good thing that it happened after the election, but in my opinion, they might just be using this as a way to flush out one more final leg down. Like I said, one more potential leg down. And then, in my opinion, this just has to make them pump MJ even more harder into the elections. And they might even start to change their tune and talk about full-blown federal legalization, right? What was the other article that came out the other day said, Senators say Harris is ready to sign MJ legalization bills if elected. So they've already started kind of planting that now. Plus, we also have the CAOA. We also have the MORE Act. We have the States Act. So, there's a lot of bills going through right now to fully deschedule as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, in my opinion, not great news, but the charts were telling us to expect one more potential leg down, and we had a lot of indicators saying that we were seeing some bearish momentum and oscillators, things like that. So it is what it is. But like I said, on the bright side, we're still progressing nicely on this timeline, and we could potentially see the Dems pump MJ even harder now that the scheduling administrative hearing is going to be potentially delaying rescheduling, right? So curious to hear what everybody else has to think. Some people commented that they bought MSOS and MSOX today. Yeah, F me, a lot of people said, right? My God, right? Like, what are the odds? But yeah, it is what it is. And I think, we'll see what happens if how much we recover into tomorrow. Like I said, not set up well, though, if we do see the S&P 500 with some weakness and headwinds into tomorrow, would not be set up well for that. But I'll definitely be getting the buy orders queued tomorrow. I'm also going to be interviewing a venture capital firm tomorrow called 3D Capital, and they have some MJ investments. He's actually the CEO. He actually met Warren Buffett. He was actually asked to be a shark on Shark Tank by Kevin O'Leary, and yeah, he's basically considered like the Canadian Warren Buffett. So I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow, and he actually introduced me to a CEO of another MJ company that's in here in Canada, a medical company, and I'm going to be interviewing them on Wednesday. So, and that company is called Avicana. They actually had a partnership there with Shoppers Drug Mart, and they've been growing quite nicely. So if anybody does have any questions for them, let me know. But we'll jump into the chat here. Looks like some tickers will see new all-time lows again from this huge overreaction of a delay. Yeah, exactly, Tony. Yeah, I mentioned that we could potentially see, another leg down, and that would mean a lot of new all-time lows, or at least 52-week lows for a lot of these names. Like Cureleaf is another one, just getting absolutely hammered at the moment. Kevin said, I had seen the article and knew a video would be coming soon. Yeah, I was in the gym and in the sauna, so I tried to get it out as quickly as possible. I was also trying to kind of compile as much information as I could and get that timeline, just to let everybody know that, it's not all hope is lost, right? Rescheduling is still progressing nicely, right? It's still going to, in my opinion, we're still going to get rescheduling, right? It's either rescheduling to Schedule 3 or descheduling. It's no other, it's not like they're going to do nothing, right? But it might get delayed. But in my opinion, this, we're progressing very nicely in terms of that timeline that I showed you on the roadmap. We're well ahead of schedule by like 12 months, by like a year essentially. And then what else? Oh, the fact that they're going to have to pump MJ even more so into the elections, right? And they might have to do that by way of saying full-blown legalization, right? And we already, like I said, we're already starting to see that with that article saying that senators say that, Harris is fully committed to sign MJ bills into law if elected. So what the hell is going on, Rod? Says David. Yes. Hopefully this video just explained it. Blake Downer, how you doing, man? Blake says, this is why the MSOS calls I have been buying don't expire until early 2026. Yeah, exactly. The thing with playing options, right, is you have to factor in time. So having those long dated calls probably not a bad idea, especially with the government, right? We know they move at turtle speed. So yeah, in my opinion, if you're gonna buy calls, I mean, obviously you get better reward for the shorter dated ones, but it's hard to predict time, right? So yeah, I would definitely err on the side of caution there, and definitely extend it out a little bit longer than you normally would. But wish you the best of luck on that, my friend. King COVID says, I feel like I was a young man when they started talking about all this. It never ends. Yeah, like I said, it definitely seems like it's it's taken forever. But like I said, when I brought up that timeline, and I know you probably commented this before I talked about that in the video, we're actually way ahead of schedule. So not all hope is lost, and not all bad, to be honest. No firework, says David. No, I think we're still going to see fireworks into the election. So in my opinion, if the Dems don't start to turn pro-crypto and very pro-MJ, now that rescheduling has been delayed, the hearing, if they don't basically talk about MJ every single time they're on the media, and if they don't do a 180 soon on crypto, well, you're already starting to see it, because like Chuck Schumer said that they want to get stablecoin and like crypto legislation done before the end of the year. So now that their jobs and their party is at stake from staying in power, they're starting to turn pro crypto, and in my opinion, they're really going to have to start turning on the MJ pump machine, because they're going to need all the help they can get. It created serious uncertainty. MSOS will get shorted, and redemptions would be terrible. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we're down about we're down like 20%, almost 20% after hours, and we're starting to recover a little bit. But like I said, not set up well if the overall broader market is weak again tomorrow as well, Ro. So we'll see what happens. But David says, thank God Tilray got booze. Yeah, they got their distribution network, their hemp and wellness lineup as well, right? And they've got a full thriving business here in Canada, and we're looking at potential excise tax improvement here in Canada as well, in my opinion, at some point in 2025, which is, again, probably going to be around the same time we get rescheduling and 280E goes away, right? Nothing happens by coincidence, in my opinion. And I think those two catalysts are going to be very much in lockstep with one another, give or take a couple of months within each other. But yeah, Germany looking to fast track Pillar 2. Tilray's got number 1 market share over there. They got the new MJ cultivation license right under the new regulations. So Tilray, in my opinion, is definitely positioned a lot better. And I've been saying that LPs have actually been looking a lot stronger, technically speaking, on the charts than these US MSOs. And then, yeah, today, after hours, Tilray only down a couple percent, while some names like MSOS down almost 20%, right? Rose says, can't fully legalize without doing research about MJ first. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? Like Congress can effectively do whatever they want at the end of the day. But yeah, even they don't even have to legalize it. All they have to do is just pump it like a mofo into these elections. And if they just keep saying, we're going to legalize federally And, rescheduling is not enough. We're going to get this rescheduling process done. It's basically a done deal. Look how fast we're moving along, blah, blah, blah. But, we're not going to stop there. We're going to fully legalize this thing, potentially. That's what I think could happen. But, if they just don't talk about MJ and don't do a turn, like a 180 turn on crypto, they're effed. They might as well just drop out now. They got absolutely no chance. So, and then RFK Jr. promoting, endorsing Trump, good luck. They're going to need to be the most pro MJ ever, right? They're going to have to dig themselves out of a super big hole here. And like I said, the only way to do that, in my opinion, is to turn super pro crypto and just mega bullish on MJ and pro MJ. King COVID says 7 years. Yeah, definitely not going to take that long, in my opinion. I should sell my bags. I'm not going to tell you to buy, sell, or hold, but I'll be buying, actually. God, we are so boned, guys. We're going straight to all-time lows within a week, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, the bear flag on MSOS is saying we could be in the low 530s. So another 10% of downside or so. Not completely out of the question. Oilers says David Klein is laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah, he gets paid a lot of money. But he'll be retiring at the end of the fiscal year, so. Don't hate the player, hate the game, absolutely. Sold all my MSOS right after the close, after the news dropped, but can't sell any calls after close. All I can do is sit here and laugh, wondering if they'll all hit minus 50 first thing on open. Yeah, that's the thing about options, right, is, in my opinion, that's why I don't really play options. I find it more of the casino aspect of the market. Yeah, you can make a lot of money on the upside, but with high reward comes high risk, right? So I just like to buy commons. I just buy shares, buy when it's low, buy when there's blood in the streets, and I wait. I don't have to factor in the time component, right? Just buy good undervalued companies that you think are going to be here in 5, 10 plus years from now, and just wait. Stock market is a mechanism from transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. And that's what I like about options, is all I have to do is be patient and not have to, or that's what I like about common shares and not options, is I just have to be patient. I don't have to factor in a date and time. Opportunity to buy. I sold 2 weeks ago on the Israel war fears. I will buy lower if possible. Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? We're seeing escalations in the Middle East, so and they're continuing to escalate. So you never know. That, it's not looking good. SPY could easily pull back, another 5-10%. So we have to be cognizant of that as well. MSOS down 12%. Yeah, I was down almost 20% there at one point. MSOX hit a new all-time low in the $1.60 range a little bit ago. What are your thoughts on CGC? Can this rally up before January? Okay. Robert, yeah, I think, and thanks for your comment as well, Covenant and other side, but yeah, I think it'll recover into the end of the year. I do. The charts are looking primed for the end of the year. But like I said, leading in, I've been saying for the last several months now that I expected, some sideways choppy action and the potential for one more leg down on some of these names. And this is exactly what we're getting. So yeah, I do think that into the end of the year, CGC should start to recover, and we're forming a monthly higher low now. So now we just need to confirm that monthly uptrend. And there was some news out today, like I said, about their Wana brand launching the marketplace direct to consumer for their hemp product lines in the U.S. So a lot of people say Canopy doesn't have a footprint in the U.S. Well, they absolutely do. They're essentially an MSO, right? And even, like I said, Tilray's even launching hemp drinks into the U.S. here. So lost my part in the chat. I do have to run here soon. 75 viewers. Wow. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. I think we had close to 100 there at one point, but yeah, still 75 viewers. Crazy. Robert, why on earth would it rally? There's absolutely zero chance any action is happening until December, and probably not until 2025. Well, you have to remember, Florida is on the ballot, so that could happen. You could see excise tax improvement progress here in Canada. Tilray's CEO has been saying for a while now that they're probably going to switch to a percentage fee from a flat fee. How would he know that if they weren't already talking about it, or it was a potential possibility? We have Germany looking to fast track Pillar 2. We have a lot of these companies entering into the U.S., into their hemp market. We could see safe banking in a lame duck session. There's lots of bills going around to deschedule, the CAOA, the MORE Act, the States Act, right? So there's not all hope is lost. And like I said, it's an election year. And we're starting to see even Donald Trump start to change his tune, saying he's starting to agree a lot more as individual states start to legalize it, right? And people shouldn't be in jail. So, and he hates to see that. So we're already starting to see them turn, and look how quickly they turn from hating crypto to loving crypto. Now it's like the best thing since sliced bread, right? And because they figured out a way to make money off of it, and to gain votes. But now we could see something similar. And again, to my point, the roadmap for rescheduling is still super ahead of schedule. It said we could be at 18 months to 20 months, just to get through step 3. We already know when step 3 is going to be, and it's only going to be 8 months. So like I said, 18 to 20 months was the potential expectation on the long end. And we're only at 8 months. So we're way ahead of schedule. And like I said, the fact that if it does get, if rescheduling didn't happen, it was a political death sentence. But now that the hearing is scheduled for after the elections, they're probably going to have to pump it even harder now, right? Whereas if they did get rescheduling done before the elections, they might not even have to really pump it that much. They could just say, yeah, we got rescheduling done, and then move on to crypto or talk about some other issue. But now they might really have to pump the MJ train, right? Because, they might even start saying, rescheduling is great, but it's a step. But as the comments said, it's not enough. We need descheduling, and they're going to talk about full-blown legalization potentially. And like I said, we saw that article with MJ Moment where Harris said she'd be totally willing to sign MJ bills if elected. So we're already seeing that rhetoric, so we'll see what happens. I think there's a lot of potential for it to rally. And keep in mind, we usually start to rally when everybody is bearish. And if everybody's bearish and the stock market is looking super bullish, the broader market into the end of the year, I think now could be the time where we actually start to rally, because everybody starts to capitulate and nobody thinks anything's going to happen until 2025, right? And then it happens in a couple of months, right? Into the end of the year here, which I think is very, very likely. So I'm very bullish. Regardless of news, the charts are looking fantastic as well into the fall. So I wouldn't be too worried about price action. Like I said, short term, I expected one more potential leg down, which we're seeing now. But yeah, into October, I'm still super bullish on these MJ stock prices. Overreaction, but I'm looking for bearish macros. Yeah, I think overreaction as well. But yeah, again, if you knew the timeline was actually expedited and we're way ahead of schedule, most people don't look at that. They just read the headline, right? We're still way ahead of schedule, and this could actually be very good because they might just have to start pumping descheduling and full-blown legalization, right? Saying rescheduling is not enough, but we're well underway and we're way ahead of schedule, right? So we'll see what happens. And then there's also the fact that if they didn't have a hearing, could come back to bite us in the ass, right? So based on litigation. I am in January 2025, 5 strike price calls. I guess may take hit. Yeah, maybe. Not looking good. David, all about hemp derived as protected by 2018 Farm Bill. THCA equal burn equal THC. Yeah, exactly. What's the purpose of the hearing and why the delay? So yeah, the hearing's just to basically go through different experts. So I mentioned it earlier. Maybe you joined late or something like that. But yeah, it's if the DEA grants it, it was essentially a hearing. Evidence can be presented in a manner similar to a standard court proceeding, focusing on the DEA's scheduling recommendation. And the timeline for this hearing will depend on various factors. That was what we were told before. And then in the actual article, let me just see here. So to consider differing expert opinions on the Justice Department's proposal. So that's what it'll be. So different experts kind of giving their opinion on it. But good question. DEA, see ya. Grit and grunt. I thought the secret informant said October. Yeah, so that was just one source from the DEA, right? You never know. I'm not an expert on this. Like I don't know. Can they expedite this? Is it absolutely a 100% guaranteed that rescheduling is not going to happen until after the elections? I'm not a DEA or a lawyer or an expert on this stuff, right? But I would assume it's probably not going to happen until after the election now. I'd say we can safely assume like 90% chance, if not more, that it's not going to happen until after the election. But again, we're still way ahead of schedule in terms of the potential timeline and roadmap that we were looking at. And they might just have to pump MJ even harder now and start to focus on full-blown legalization, not just rescheduling. And they might even start to use evidence in the comments as well, saying that, and if they don't, they might as well just not even run. There's not even any point in having an election, in my opinion, unless they, it's hard to say what's going to happen. But Mr. Mankey, we got a first member in the house. Love being able to hang through the whole stream. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining the stream and the donation I just saw. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you very much, Mr. Mankey, for being a VIP member on the YouTube channel. I think you were like the first or second person, actually, who signed up as a member. So much appreciated. Yeah, at the end of the day, no one really knows. Like, no one has a crystal ball. But, the hearing, he did mention in that interview as well that if they don't have a hearing, that could be problematic in the future. So we'll see what happens. CI was a bad guy. Can MSOX go to zero? Well, technically anything can go to zero, but would it? I would say the chances of that happening are probably 1%. Could the fund cease to exist? That'd probably happen before the price went to zero, in my opinion. How about GTII? So GTII, we'll take a quick peek here. I think it was actually bearish as well. GTBIF. Yeah, so it just had a death cross as well, right? And it's one of the stronger names in the space, fundamentally speaking, and from a profitability standpoint. Say that 5 times fast. But yeah, that was another reason why I was looking at it, right? Because MSOS had a death cross quite a while ago now. This was back in mid-July. And then if you take a look at leaders in the space, it's like, okay, well, this just happened the end of July, and we didn't really see that much downside from it as a result. So where are we at now on Green Thumb? Yeah, after hours we hit like 1060, it looks like. But yeah, let's take a look at GTII here on the Canadian. Yeah, they're not listed on U.S. major exchanges either, so it's not as easy to see it. But we'll take a quick peek at that chart, actually. That's a good idea. GTBIF. Was there a weekly bear flag there too? Yes, there was. Yeah, that wasn't much of a bounce there, but we did have an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well. Yeah, pretty choppy. If you ignore this upper wick here, it was a head and shoulders as well. So you could draw the left shoulder, the head, ignore that upper wick, and then it was saying bearish reversal. So you're looking at around there. So it's saying around 931. So I wouldn't be surprised. Next support's at 995 and then 757 USD on the OTC on GTBIF. So we also had that EMA 12 and 26 bear across. Monthly time frame. We are gearing up for that monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, though. And that would be, I guess, the second time in history. So, like I said, while, it's easy to be bearish right now in the short term, especially after this news, this monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, look what happened last time. Absolutely rocketed. So that is big news. That is big deals. That's a big deal in my opinion. Yeah, monthly support, nothing near until 757, but GTBIF. Yeah, we're actually gearing up for a MACD bull cross over the next couple of weeks as well. So I think, while a lot of people are bearish now, I was bearish earlier, right, for the last few weeks and months, said we could potentially go sideways one more leg down. But now that we got that leg down, I'm starting to turn bullish. And people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Because I'm usually the opposite of what the most retail investors think, right? Because it's that contrarian mindset. And it's usually, the bottoms are usually marked in fear, right? And then tops are usually marked in euphoria. So if you look around, a lot of people are frustrated and in fear again, right? So I think the bottom's actually getting close. Mr. Mankey says, honestly, looking at the chart reminds me of Apple and Google before. Yeah, absolutely. And the cigarette stocks. Yeah, tobacco, right? Yeah, it's just like all these new nascent industries, upcoming disruptive emerging industries, right? So how about GTA? I got that one. Rescheduling means nothing in Germany. Is MJ a much of a priority for Dems as we constantly talk about? I think it's emphasized by us because we are investors, but it's not a big factor in terms of voting in general. Oh, I think it will be. There's more people in, like, look how many people are pro crypto and one issue voters, and they're starting to turn on crypto now. And then there's more people in the US that consume MJ that own crypto, right? So if there's that many people that are pro crypto, and we hear, there's a lot of people talking about, I'm going to only vote for I'm a one issue voter, whoever's going to be best for crypto. But now we know MJ, there's actually more people that own or that consume MJ that own crypto in the US. And in Canada, that's how they when they legalized MJ here, like they had record amount of young voters coming out, right? It's mostly the younger crowd that wouldn't otherwise vote at all. So if you get MJ on the ballot or MJ like issue on the in the eyes and in the minds of people, especially the younger people, they'll come out and vote, which otherwise wouldn't have voted at all, right? So I think it's a lot bigger than most people think. And like I said, if they don't start to turn super bullish on MJ and start pump the ever loving hell out of it into the elections, and they don't start pumping crypto like their life depends on it, because it does. Like they're literally effed if they don't do that, in my opinion. Like they may as well just not even have an election, because they're just going to absolutely get destroyed. Unless they're throwing it and they want I don't know, like what's going on. But we'll see. No one has a crystal ball, but I still think we're going to see some positive price appreciation into the end of the year here. Sean says, or am I missing something, and is MJ on every U.S. citizen's mind? Well, I mean, there was a poll out not too long ago that 71% of people want it legalized. So 71% of the U.S., like that's, super majority. Like it's time to give the people what they want. So yeah, I definitely think it's a lot bigger of an issue than most people think. If so, it would come up, but it doesn't. Well, one thing you have to remember too is we're going to start to see lots of lobbying as well, because a lot of these big alcohol and tobacco companies are getting involved, but they're scooping these companies up while they're cheap, right? Taking advantage of that. So I would say over the next year or two, we're going to really start to see lobbying. We know Apple and Amazon are joining each other in reform. Uber Eats just partnered with in Alberta here is now in 3 provinces. You can get MJ delivered directly on Uber Eats. DoorDash has partnered with Cureleaf to bring their direct-to-consumer hemp products in the U.S. So big tobacco, alcohol corporations, tech is in the space, right? Thanks, Rod. Looking at every comment is awesome. You bet, David. My pleasure. I think I got everybody's. If I missed anybody, my apologies. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. Jatinder in the house. Hello, Rod. I know it's an MJ video. Please, can you look at QNT and Chainlink? I did say that QNT was probably going to see some downside, and it's been very weak. Chainlink, I think, is a little bit more bullish, but I think they both should start to rebound here soon. Should do very well in alt season, but yeah, that's about all I'll say for now. I'll probably do another live stream on crypto at some point soon. Sean, fair answer regarding MJ being a major topic. Yeah, you bet. Glad it was helpful. Pete, nothing burger, overreaction to ensue. Yeah, I agree. I'll be definitely buying on this tip for sure. Just remember, Ohio alone pulled in 22.4 million in 2 weeks. Yeah, like this is big business, right? These are going to be very, very high cash flowing companies once we get, full reform in the U.S. and around the world, right? So there's so much to look forward to. Like I said, we have to change our mindset. This is only ever going to happen once. And while it seems, bleak and the end of the world, now is the time where I'm actually going to be starting to expect a reversal to the upside. And like I said, into the fall, it's still looking like MJ price appreciation is in the cards, and we should see some decent momentum to the upside. And we'll see what happens with regards to these political campaigns. But yeah, they may as well just drop out and not even have an election if they don't start to turn pro-crypto and, like I said, pump the ever-loving hell out of MJ into this election period, because they won't have a chance in hell. All right, going in it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. If you like this video today, you can smash it. Smash that like. I would appreciate it. And shout out to Mr. Mankey and all the other members who joined recently on the channel. I really appreciate all of the support. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.